I'm so glad you're here to ease back, to rest, and to listen. Before we get started, I want to share this with you. Rest is many things. Rest is a portal. Rest is a bridge from where you are to where you want to be. Rest is fuel. Rest is a soft place to land. And most of all, rest is sacred. Rest is refuge. Rest is remembrance. Rest is a revelation. You are sacred. Your rest is sacred. And if you want to infuse more of the sacredness of rest into your day to day life, I have something for you. Check out my latest book, Rest is Sacred, at www.restisacred.com. Okay, enjoy your listen. Welcome to Leaders Devoted to Rest, where we explore how rest is a sacred practice that awakens both possibility and power within you. I'm your guide, Octavia, Faith, and Raheem. In each episode, I chat with a leader whose life has been positively transformed through their devotion to rest. Now, you know we aren't just going to sit up here and talk about rest. We are going to actually lay down. Each episode ends with a rest practice for you to try at home. Rest is fuel, and you are in the right place to fuel up. So grab your favorite pillow, blanket, cozy socks, and journal, and ease on back as we begin another restorative episode. Today, I am talking with Annie Sanchez. Annie is a lifelong seeker, navigator in change, and believer in possibility. Professionally, she advises and guides executive leaders and entrepreneurs around the country through big personal and organizational change. Personally, she's a student of creativity, rest, and imagination, living with her family on the ancestral homelands of the Tewa Pueblo people in New Mexico. Annie's the CEO of Mariposa Strategies and creator of Clarity Pages. In this episode, our conversation centers how rest can click you back into place and bring you back into right relationship with yourself. We also talk about how rest can wake you up to who you really truly are. So, welcome, Annie Sanchez. I like to start by stopping. So, I'm going to invite you to start by stopping with me. And for me, it feels really important to do this and let people see us do it. I do it all the time, like I do it before I press record, before I step into a new movement, a new action. I stop by stopping, and I want those listening and seeing us to do this with us. So, would you like to start by stopping with me?
Oh, yes.
So, your eyes can be open, your eyes can be closed. If you keep your eyes open, just fix your gaze on one point that's not moving and let your eyelids still get heavy yet soft. And starting by stopping is simply pausing, noticing body, noticing breath, and receiving 3 breaths in through the nose and out through the nose, or in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as we step more fully into this restorative conversation, breathe in fully through your nose, exhale out with a sigh.
Mm,
Thank you for being here.
happy to be. Nowhere else I'd rather be right now.
I love that.
So one of my favorite writers, poets, thinkers, Sandra Cisneros, says to say the name is to begin the story. And I want to invite you to, I know I've said your name. It's important for us to hear it off your tongue and then just start us where you want to start. Tell us who you are and where you are arriving from today.
Mm. My name is Annie Sanchez. I am the daughter of Teresa and Ron. I am a tia to a whole bunch of little amazing, they're not so little anymore, kids and teenagers who guide so much of what I do and where I am in the world. I'm a partner. I am a kitty mama. And I am Annie and I am Tia in most spaces that I'm in. Annie or Thea. And I am arriving, let's see, where am I arriving from? A few places. In a very micro, immediate way, I am arriving from a really short but intense workout on the Peloton app with Jess Sims. Kicked my butt. I'm getting stronger every day because of her. I am also arriving from like art practice. I have been immersed for hours and hours, days upon days, weeks upon weeks now, on an art project for school. So my brain is still connected to the creative ideas that I've been holding all day and yesterday and in the weeks before. Um, and beyond these last few weeks and months, I feel like I'm arriving from, sounds so like dark, but it's really more bright than it is gonna maybe how it's gonna come off. Um, I am definitely arriving from what feels like the bottom of the ocean floor. I feel like I have been finally in the last few months, about a year, and real recently, October 2024, like came to the surface after being down there for some time. So,
Mm.
mm,
I'm glad you're on the surface and up here for air and deep breath with me. What brought you, what helped you come back up to the surface?
mm. A combination of things, um, including combination of things and people. Things being practices and both spiritual, both tangible, both abstract. I'm in a devoted journaler. So lots and lots of pouring onto the page. I feel like that's the one consistent thing that has been with me and helping me little by sift. Paddle, 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 paddle. Um, oh my God. Um, it's not even because we're on this in this conversation, but really it was some rest practice with you and the rest family over the summer. Um, a prompt, an inquiry that was offered that kind of synced into me during practice and then out of me onto the page as I do. It's like the visual I have is like a between the combo of right inquiry at the right time with practice happening at the right time, the kind of this little combo of rest and journaling and thinking and people, you included, my partner included, um, a couple of other beloveds. It's like something like moved over and then finally found its little spot. Like, geez, it's been hanging out trying to like get over. And all these things sort of helped me to like click into place. And I don't know, it's like it gave me the air in my lungs to finally rise up to the surface. Yeah. Yeah. But definitely, most definitely. I feel like the light switch that I was like messing with um was finally like the light bulb clicked over the summer a couple months ago during a Rest family reunion with one of the prompts that you offered. And it's been sticking with me for months.
Thank you for sharing that. Something that I'm feeling into is like the words and practices, right? Like rest is restorative. And one way I understand the definition of restorative is to you said the language of click back into place to restore. It felt like, oh, something's floating around. Something has shifted out of place, maybe through life, through challenge, through movement, through work, through struggle, through whatever, through just whatever. Why it
Mhm.
was out of place is why is anything out of place or why does anything shift? And what I heard you say is that you have a medicine bag or a toolkit of practices that include rest and reflection, which are restorative practices, practices meant to click the out of place back into place. So,
Mm,
so thank you for sharing that. And you might have already answered this, but what has rest awakened, right? Because we know rest is an awakening practice, right? Uh, Feels like a misnomer, right? So I find that so much can occur in the space of stillness. So much can move in the space of stillness. When my eyes are closed, there's a way that my eyes are also being cleared to see with more clarity. And that's what I mean when I say awakening,
mm,
becoming more aware, more attuned to. So, what has rest allowed you to become more aware of within your context? Can be today, it could be the year, it could be the month. It could be the season, like what has rest awakened within you?
mm. Well, as I've shared with you in the past, I don't think I knew before I met you, before I really engaged in rest practice as you have guided and taught and offered to me and to those that, we share community with. I did not I don't I feel like I can honestly say pre 2022, 2021, late 2021, I did not actually know what rest really was. Sort of this abstract, like, oh, it's sleep. Oh, it's like nighttime sleep or vegging out, or all of those things are helpful. But like actual, true kind of spiritual rest, full body rest in the middle of the day, in between meetings, on a Saturday evening, like real intentional rest as I've come to learn through, work with you and others is has woken up in me over the last three years. My God, I can't believe it's been that long. Feels like I just started. Um, has woken up a part of me, a couple of parts of me that are coming to mind immediately. One being like the real core essence of my knowing about who I am. I have struggled my whole life. I'm in my mid 40s. So I came into rest practice in this context 3 years ago. Early 40s and before, like I didn't really know, honestly, did not know how to describe, not even to others, but to myself. Like I didn't understand why I was the way that I was. It's been a lifelong, like, I guess in reality, I've been trying to figure out who I am or why I am the way that I am, because one of these things is not like the rest where I come from. And it's like, why am I different? But I'm like also can get down in multiple different spaces with different people. I often think of myself as a bridge person in communities, like lots of different, whether it's family of origin, chosen family, community, work, client, or in whatever context other people are in my life, or I'm a part of the spaces and groups. I always feel different, but I've had a hard time finding words to articulate why, or even just to understand for my own self. And over the last few years, rest has helped me come into relationship with myself,
Mhm.
um, in ways that I don't even need words for. It's more of a feeling. Where previously there were feelings, but they were like going out and like frazzled. Now it's like they're softer and they're going in and coming to me. It's like, oh, that's familiar. Oh, I know. Okay, this feeling. Oh, that sensitivity. Oh, that little quirk, that little anxiety, that little way of thinking. Um, so it's awakened my sense of self, I think is how I would describe it. But in addition, that has peeled back all these other layers of like, oh, I more like I'm not just a solution like of anybody who knew Annie 40 years old and before, I am somebody who just figures things out, does things action oriented, excited, enthusiastic, adventurous. All that stuff still is true. And I'm extraordinarily sensitive in ways that I'm still, I think it'll be a lifelong journey, like coming to understand. And I'm also deeply creative, I've discovered in the last couple of years, and most especially in the last year. But I could not have gotten there, figured that out, like that little piece click into place, the creativity or even the sensitivity or the words for either of them without rest. And I am like a different Annie in a lot of ways than I was 3 years ago, even when I first met you. I'm doing different things. I'm thinking in different ways, maybe not different ways, but more authentic ways. Like I'm just more me. I'm more me than I've ever been.
Mm. I I hear I'm at home in my body and my life. Like rest awakened me to like I'm
Mm,
here. I am home and I want to be here um and a gentle fierceness of like I meet myself where I am and I love me. And that's a powerful awakening for a woman to have.
mm,
Um, yeah.
mm.
I just had this sense of like a you're laying down and like layers being peeled. Like you're not having to strip yourself. There's you show up to the practice shows up for you.
Mm,
Um, so I know you're a leader and a founder,
mm,
and you are. You're there's a multiplicity to you, and I also know you are a strategist. What I just heard you say is part of how you come to your solution making sounds like it has become um, less exhausting and more creative. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I
I
would say yes.
I
Yes,
definitely
and.
hear yes, I definitely hear a more willingness and capacity to lean into creative strategy making and solution making.
Mm.
Maybe that was always there, but I'm curious about what rest has fueled in your brilliant leadership. That's part of it.
Mm.
but we're more than the work we do and what we
Mhm.
create and what we figure out in the world. And so you can start there. You can also share what has rest um, fueled in your restoration of lineage and how you're thinking about experiencing what your legacy will be. I know that's a big old question. So,
Mm.
what has rest fueled in your leadership, lineage, and legacy? Wherever you want to enter into that question, enter there.
It is a big question, but I it's like everything is everything, it's
Yep.
all part of the same.
Connective tissue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one giant fractal. It's like you can sink down into any one of them, or if looking at it as a whole. Um, so rest, what has it fueled in my leadership lineage legacy? I it's me right now. This question is interesting today. It would be, I think I would be answering it differently, even 2, 3 months ago, because I really feel like right now I'm in this little kind of never to be traveled again stretch of time where I really am coming up to the surface after what was funky and dark and real felt like it was never going to end. And so when I think about my leadership today in my business, in my relationship, something that my partner Matt and I talk about a lot is the ways in which we lead each other. And, you know, this is like a vulnerable share, but like something, I typically, as I've already described, tend to be very solution oriented. A lot of all my people have always known that. Those are the jobs I've always gotten hired for. I always know oh yeah, I can do that. Look at a job. Oh, yeah, I can do that. I can figure that out. And when it comes to my like intimate relationships, especially with my life partner, he it's we've been together, we're in our ninth year right now. He has said so many different times, and how much he wants to be able to feel like he's able to lead in our relationship more give and take, because Annie, like, she gets going. It can be hard to stop her. And I am hearing it now, almost 9 years later. Like, I hear it now. I hear what he's saying. I've intellectually understood before, and like I could feel it, but I did not know how to get out of our way. And not that it's about submitting, or it's just about equal footing and when and where each of our strengths gets to show up for the other, for the wholeness of our family, for what each of us are doing creatively. We are a very creative house, and I feel like rest has allowed me, it's gassing me up, so to speak, eh, with my relationship, like, really, truly, it's in I'm so excited for the next 9 years of our relationship. Like, what's it gonna be like the more that he's able to feel his footing beneath him with me alongside him. I don't always have to make sure everything's gonna be okay. It's always my MO has always been about making sure everything is okay. We're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. What do we gotta do? But it's like, take it back, take it easy, Annie. Like, what does his leadership look like? And how does that impact mine? But it is through rest that I'm able to soften my grip, loosen my grip, and know that we're still gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Um,
Mm.
and when I think of it, it's very much tied to my way of leading in the past, and the way that I'm kind of relearning it now is related to my lineage. I think of my mom and my grandma in particular, my mom, Teresa, and my grandma, Priscilla, my mom's mom. The two of them both passed away in the same year, 6 months apart, a little over 10 years ago. And you know, nothing has ever been the same, never will be, never could be. And there's a part of me that is constantly trying to make them proud or whatever. And it's like, well, what would have made them proud if they when they were alive? What would make them proud now? Like I'm a very different Annie than 10 years ago. And so there's this all like, what does it mean to make someone proud? What they weren't even demanding anything from me or setting expectations of me. That's not the kind of people that I come from. And yet I had this idea, this, I don't know, kind of distorted, contorted idea of what success or making it was supposed to look like. And I am in a deep relationship right now with healing that, I don't know, kind of hustle culture, grind culture, capitalism driving the choices that I make. I feel like rest is just all around is allowing me to soften my grip, both literally and mentally and emotionally. Like there's always this clinging. There has been for so long. And right now, as I'm finally up on the surface of the water, it's like, oh, I can just breathe. Like I'm learning how to back float. This is okay. Everything is okay. This is what my mom and my grandma would have wanted is for all of us to rest and be okay. Like not everything is about money and survival.
Mm.
And everything is also about survival. And so, it's like, it gets so messy, but I'm like, it's soften constantly every day. That is the practice is softening.
Mm. And you saying that what rest has fueled in your life partnership, I just heard open to receive. You're open to receive, right?
Mm, mhm,
And rest is a practice. I- what I love about the rest practice is, at work, there are objectives, like there's something to do, improve with it. Okay, time and place for that. Rest, I remember one of my first rest practices and going, rest doesn't want anything from me or need me to do anything. Rest says, come here, lay down, let me receive you. And there's something in that one of my early rest practices was a restorative yoga.
mm,
And one of the powerful transmissions of that particular practice is you're using all the props, all the support, is it teaches you in your body how to just receive. And what I'm hearing you say is first you get that in your body. It's not an intellectual concept. You
mhm,
do these rest practices, you're consistent, you fall off, you get back on, you're consistent. It's a practice, right? And there's something about embodying with consistency a practice that doesn't ask you to give anything to it other than your presence that then starts to translate in how we relate to first ourselves and then other people. And it does, I mean, it is intentional, meticulous over time, this unfolding that allows us to soften and open to receive. So what I heard you say is, "Whew, rest is fueling my capacity to be open to receive."
mm,
And I also really identify with that when you talk about the matriarchs who brought you here. Thank them, wanting to make them proud, and then rest also creating a clarity that they are already proud of me.
mhm,
And this was one of my students who shared this with me in one of her reflections. She said, my ancestors rejoice when I rest.
mm.
And then it made me think about this phrase we often hear, like, I am my ancestors' wildest dream. And a lot of times I have thought about that statement as being like, and when I do this and when I do that and when I write the book. And then one day in rest, I had this clear realization that me, Southern US born Black woman, just laying down because I chose to. Now that's a wild dream. Like that, and so when you were talking about your mama and your grandmama, I could feel that, like, on some level, your rest creates expansion, right? And like, a deeper, more sustaining pride of, "Yes, and my baby girl gets to do that too. She has that choice available to her." So thank you for sharing that.
Mm.
Annie, I know you're devoted to reflection, creativity, rest. Um, what are you devoted to doing in your lifetime?
Mm.
Whether that's love, how you work, how you relate, what you create.
Mhm. I am most devoted to j- a consistent and continuous evolution. There's nothing that makes me feel more outside of myself than settling. There's this inner knowing, like if I'm settling for something that isn't resonating, whether it's a place to live, work, relationship, experience, whatever it might be. It's this deep, 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 like visceral soul level need for just commitment to rather myself and my growth and my evolution, which feels deeply, deeply, deeply tied to the legacy that if I die tomorrow, will I be happy with how I spent today? Is a question I think about a lot. And I have one niece who just turned 15 this year. And in my mind, she's 7. It's like, no, she's in 10th grade. Like she's going to be a grown up in a couple years. My oldest nephew is going to graduate from high school this year. Like, what do I want to leave them with? God forbid I die tomorrow. What is the legacy that I'm leaving behind? It is a commitment to myself and my growth and not settling for anything less than I want. I think there's a part of me which can get messy around the wanting, but there's, yeah, you know what I mean. And it's also like my wants are like the essence of my wants are actually really simple. And it's tied to my grandma, it's tied to my mom, it's tied to my sister and my dad and my partner, and just all it's like, I just want to keep becoming. Like it's wild what I'm doing with my life, like at this time right now in 2024. It's like, who knows how long this call, this recording, this conversation will live on the internet. It'll be interesting to go back, for me to go back and listen to this, a year from now, 3 years from now. What am I going to be doing then? I hope not the same thing right now. Like
Mhm.
whatever I'm doing now is in service of my my joy and my spiritual growth now, but for future me, for my niece when she's older, for if she chooses to have children, her kids when they're older, my nephew's kid. It's like I think about the descendants, but mostly future me, future ancestor me. When I am long gone, what am I going to be where in whatever incarnation that I am, shape or form I'm taking long after I'm gone? I want to I like to believe that I'll have some level of consciousness still then. And I want to be able to like really reflect later on how I've lived my life. And it's just this deep devotion to continuing to evolve, to continue to become. I've never felt more alive than when I am listening to my inner intuition, which is fueled by creativity and problem solving and love and reflection. It's like all the good things. And it's like, oh, it feels very buoyant. And when I know intimately what it feels like to be out of that space. And those have been some of the hardest, saddest times in my life. If I had died then, that would have been real sad. Like, I just want to keep growing and becoming. It's exciting. Like, I feel like I'm just getting started, you know, in a lot of ways.
I hear in that commitment to growing and evolving a devotion then to the practices that sustain that growth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if anything you're like making or creating in the world that you're like, I'm so excited about this.
Well, as I sit here, I'm looking at my wall. I have a hanging up on my wall right now is a drawing that I made, that I drew with my own hand, that, that I'm very proud of. I am discovering that I know how to draw, and I've always wanted to learn how to draw. Well, I don't want to say I've always wanted to. There's been moments that I've wanted to learn how to draw, but I've never had a commitment to learning until recently. And I'm discovering that I'm already pretty good, and I didn't even know that. It's like like a literal true hidden talent is surfacing right now, and it's brought me to tears in recent weeks. And so I'm feeling really excited to just keep drawing. I was like, what am I going to do with this? I don't even know. It doesn't need to be, a commodity or sold or what. I don't know. I have no idea, but it's going to inform some things. It feels exciting to be. I'm not like, oh my God, it feels really good to be good at something. I've struggled I'm like literally connecting the dot right now. My whole mother effing life, I have been trying to figure out what is my thing. What is my thing? What is this my thing? And a lot of things have been my thing for the time that they've been my thing. But I'm like, all these people who have a thing, God, they're lucky. I wish I had a thing. What is my thing? Because so many things. But I also don't feel like I've never really felt like I'm very good at any one thing. Like, I'm pretty good at some things, I'm better at others, but it's like, whoa, this drawing situation. Whoa, I think I might be good. My drawing teacher at school, because I'm enrolled in college right now. I'm pursuing a BFA. That's so weird. And my professor, who's easily half my age, no exaggeration, um, is extraordinarily talented, shared with me that they thought I had been drawing my whole life. They're like, this is the work of somebody who has been drawing a long time. It's like, they were shocked that it was my first drawing class. I'm shocked. So I'm delighted. It feels so exciting, especially because I have no idea what it's about. There's no end goal attached to it. I don't need my art to perform for me. And I'm like discovering parts of myself at the same time, because it is very much a practice. It's a deep, deep meditation practice. And it's hard and it's frustrating. And then there's moments where it's like, oh my God, I wish my mom were alive so she could see these things. Like, it's wild. I feel it's wild. I am discovering a part of myself I had no clue was even in there.
So you sank to the bottom of the ocean. Practice and intentionality and vulnerability and community and rest and action, all these things brought you back to the surface space. I hear I had to going down called you to I have got to create a different kind of space for myself if I'm going to come back to the surface.
Mm,
And in the space created, who you were all along had an opportunity to emerge. I mean, I think that that is, something I also discovered, and I have, you know, when I'm rest coaching people and we actually can you gotta carve out the space, protect the space. Sometimes life says, "You're taking space right now." Right? Those are sometimes the hard cases. And in that space, we remember who we were, who we are, who we were before the world told us who we were supposed to be. And in your cases, I am Annie Sanchez, and I'm an artist. Like, and I really, his talent has been dormant in space, rest, and then actual practice allowed it to just emerge from your hand. It was always there. That is fascinating to me. Um, so, Annie, it's important to me in this whole process that we hear your restorative
mm,
um, journey and that we also rest. And I'm laughing because I'm on the other side of interviewing sometimes. And I guess I'm saying this publicly now. Sometimes I'm like, why are we talking about rest, not resting?
mm,
Um, and so you know this about me. Questions I often walk with and lead with are what part of you is most in need of rest? And sometimes I kind of couple that, marry that with and what's awake for you right now. And whichever one of those feel really resonant for you to answer to yourself, you can share it with us if you want to. Either what part of you is most in need of rest or what's really awake for you right now. And then we'll actually engage a practice and invite those listening to practice, be in a practice of community, a community of practice with us as well. So, which one of those appeal to you as a question or an inquiry?
think the part of me that is in most need of rest.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to? You can share it with your voice. You can also direct message me so I see it in the chat. And then what I want to do is just in real time create the practice that supports rest for that part of you.
Mm, okay. Okay. I'm okay with saying it out loud. It is it is the it is the solution finder left brain like really really needs to is in need of rest. I think my right brain is like, please, please make her be quiet. Please put her to bed. It is, and I'm like, God, it's so dominant and strong in spite of my, you know, my knowing. That part of me is just like, it's okay. Just lights out.
Well, so to start, I'm gonna invite you. You can go off camera if you would like to. And the solution I feel this part. I'm feeling this. The solution creator generation generator internally, you can try this on and see if it resonates with you. What if you ask, what do you want me to know right now? And You just notice, like, well, what do you want me to know right now? And listen. And as you're listening, notice your body and notice your breath. And then for this is internal, when the listening to the always making solutions one, when that feels complete or like it's slowing down within you, if it feels right to offer some gratitude and just reaffirm, like, I actually do see you, I actually do hear you, and thank you. You can also internally offer this to that part. I give you permission to rest. Would you like to rest? I'm going to rest. Would you like to rest? And then you just notice if another, it's almost like a kid being like, wait, but I have to raise my hand and say one more thing if that happens. Or if it's like, you know what? Actually, yes. And if it's, no, I have more to say, we stay with noticing body, noticing breath. And then within the physical body, if there's a way that you can more fully support your physical body as you listen and pay attention, you do. And that physical support helps in a quite tangible way us just soften and receive support. And then you can see how that starts to translate to the part that's like, but I have all this solution making to do. And so you notice whatever it is you're noticing right now, has the internal dialogue, the pace of it quickened? Is it slowing down? I'm going to offer that whatever it is it's really not, it's not wrong. And that a useful reframe for the challenging parts and the not so challenging parts, and not offer you this is, I am here with you, which another way to say that is like acceptance. And then we can start to more consciously shift to really being aware that the chair is supporting us, the seat is supporting us, there's something at our back supporting us. Your feet maybe are touching the ground. And begin to notice your body and notice your breath. And you can see if this is useful for you to count the breath down and backwards, starting with the number 10. And with every exhalation, letting go of a layer of tension, letting go of a layer of tightness, letting go of a layer of doubt, letting go of a layer of non self acceptance. And you just continue to count the breath down and backwards. And if you lose your place in the counting, you start back at the number 10. And then wherever you are in the counting, you can now let the counting go, aware of the support beneath and at your back. Then you continue to let go. And you let go even more. And you let go even more. And you continue to let go. In the place within most in need of rest, you very softly turn your inner awareness in that place, feel into that place, notice that place, and internally say, I see you, and I give you permission to rest. You have permission to rest. You have permission to rest. You have permission to rest. Move awareness to the space between the eyebrows. And you might just quietly, internally say, permission to rest. Awareness to the right temple, permission to rest. Awareness back to the space between the eyebrows, permission to rest. Awareness to the left temple, permission to rest. Awareness back to the space between the eyebrows, to the base of the throat. Awareness to the center of the chest, the navel center, the base of the spine, the center of the hips, and awareness back to the navel center, base of the spine, awareness back to the center of the chest, base of throat, the space between the eyebrows. And be aware of the whole being receiving and trusting the permission to rest. And we'll rest here in silence for about 1 minute. Just noticing, feeling, simply resting. Notice your breath, notice your body, notice what you know right now. And you check in with the part within that was most in need of rest, the part always making the solutions. And you just feel into, did something shift even by 1%? And let the 1% count. Whenever you're ready, you can bring movement back into your body and deepen the breath, your breath. And if there's something you want to journal or free write, feel free to.
Mhm. Can't believe that was like 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Feels so much longer. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So, I
Yeah.
like to ask how you are arriving. When you were arriving, you had done the Peloton, some creativity was happening.
Mhm.
And ultimately, from the bottom of the ocean up, here we are breathing air. You could float on your back a little bit, is what you said. How are you leaving? We've rested some, we've meandered around, we've had what I feel like is a restorative conversation, some clicking. You talked about something clicking into place, and I'm wondering as we come to a close, how you are leaving.
Hmm. I am leaving much calmer. There was some inner like coming in, and now I'm just I feel rested. I feel calmer. Um, and I feel like, yeah, just it's like softer, looser. Hmm. We're just my life's work is about softening, and it is. I right in this moment, I feel it. I feel like that rest practice was 20 minutes long. Oh, such a nice reminder how readily available it is. And I just, yeah, I'm feeling like I don't need to rush to whatever I'm doing next. Just softer, looser, more allowing right now.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And, so part of why I wanted to do this series is I deeply believe in every person that I've been able to rest with. Um, I'm inspired by the ways I see you all make your rest practice your own and your devotion your own.
Mm.
And I knew that you had something to say, something to offer, an insight rooted in your rest and your journey that clearly I couldn't because I am not you. And that is all to say, for those who have listened and heard and rested alongside me and you today, who are like, I want to know more about Annie and I want to float on my back with Annie and explore who I'm becoming with her, how can they find you?
Hmm. Well, the best place to find me is in real time on Instagram, very active in my stories at Mariposa Strategies. And my website, my work that I do in the world is mariposastrategies.com. Yeah, those are the places, and anything I'm doing at any given time is going to be available there.
Annie,
Yes.
thank you so much. It's been delightful um,
Thank you.
to just chat with you, to rest with you, to be with you, to hear you, to float on my back a little while with you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful. It's like perfect Monday afternoon. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. And you are still here. I hope that means that you enjoy the episode. Before moving on to the next thing, I have an invitation for you. If you can, pause and notice your breath. Notice your inhale and notice your exhale. As you reflect on this episode, what did you hear that was interesting or inspiring? What did you learn? What did this episode wake up within you? What did this episode allow to rest within you? Thank you again so much for being here. You are sacred. Your rest is sacred. And you being here and you staying here affirm that you can be devoted to rest. That you can be a leader and devoted to rest. Until next time.